Let's go on. It's all over.
In addition to engine number 40 pulling us today, the Hope and Ivyland, two other steam locomotives on display back at the station. I'm sure many of you know engine number 9. Engine number 9 is a switcher engine. Built in number 40 coupled back on. You're going to hear some hissing sounds. Those are the airlines being warmed back up. These airlines run our brake system, and then our conductor, Mr. Ed Naylor, the brake test to make sure that air system is functioning properly. And listen for 3 short toots. That'll be our signal to get underway to New Hope. I'll be back with you in just a moment.
Because it was right there.
Like the train, Jack?
Right there.
Look, we need to see this.
Train leaving for Aquaton, Reader, Wood Station, and New Station.
I need a house that takes all week to clean it, so I clean every day. Get the fish. It's on the floor, but the dishes. We have to come back and check with today. Sister can't play it down. So you really have all the music on the train station way back when? It probably did.
Come and run right around.
And hook up to there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
it's funny.
Days over an old steam engine trying to make a comeback. Lucy Yang has the story for us.
Ever since this newly restored steam engine train took to the tracks last month, more than 20,000 riders have hopped on board.
Great. It's a picture of what it would have been 30, 40, 50 years ago that I would have never seen.
These visitors to New Hope are from Florida.
I love it. I love them. It's not enough of them around.
Never should have done away with them. They're beautiful. I love the smell of the smoke, sound of the whistle. It's great.
However, the very characteristics of a coal-fired train which these tourists love, others hate. Namely, about 5 dozen local residents who live or work next to the tracks.
It's so bad that I've noticed that I've developed sort of postnasal drip and breathing difficulties, which I've never had my entire life. I don't even have allergies.
You're saying that's from the soot?
It's only started since the train has started running.
You can't think with this whistle and the steam whistles blowing all the time. It's like a theme park. Not much fun.
However, the owner of the train set argues he is a good neighbor.
There's only 200 steam locomotives operating left yet in the United States. If it was an animal, it would be an endangered species.
Borough Councilman Steve Petrov says he is now looking for evidence of zoning violations.
If they can comply, they can run a business. If not, it's not our problem. We'll just shut them down.
I doubt if there's as much emission from our steam locomotive as you get from the average diesel truck or bus that goes up and down Main Street or Bridge Street.
Until local officials can find a valid legal problem with the line, this nostalgic caboose will continue to whistle its way through town. Lucy Yang, Channel 6 Action News in New Hope, Bucks County.
And still to come on Action News tonight, the Phillies go streaking, looking for 6 wins in a row, believe it or not.
Why am I videotaping locomotives that aren't moving? In case an earthquake happens and they do start to move. Hi, Lucy.
That's the generator up there, right? That works right now? You got it there in the light. On the radio is the right. Okay. I hear it, Ian. Hear it? Ian, remember that train book we read this morning? It said the engineer rings the bell when they come into the yard. Tell people that they're here. So here with that info. There it is. See it? There it is. It's coming. Here it comes.
Hello everyone, my name is Bill. I'll be your guide for a roundhouse tour. Welcome aboard the Steamtown Express. We'll be traveling at the amazing speed of 5 miles per hour, about a quarter mile back into New York. Take you down to the roundhouse area. We'll tell you a little bit about the past and the future development going in that area. This coach we're traveling in today is a vintage 1920s passenger coach, once used on the Central Railroad in New Jersey. Most of what you see is all original with the exception of no smoking signs in the seats. You're riding about 20 to 30 years ago, these seats would be ripper seats. Oh, that was a quick stop. Actually, we're stopped at a crossing, and since this is an active track, you have to have a conductor go out and flag the crossing to make sure it's safe to go across the roadway. Now those 3 whistles you just heard means we're going back to the roundhouse in the backwards direction. On the way up you hear 2 whistles, which means we're going forward. The 4 whistles you just heard means we're going over the crossing. It's your average grade crossing signal. Coming up on my left side here is a great caboose, the Lehigh Valley Black Diamond. I was in school last year about a group of Boy Scouts working on their Eagle badge. And here we have some old box cars dating back to the 1920s and 1930s. Now, if anybody's played the game Monopoly and remembers the Reading Railroad, it's the Reading Company engine. Coming up, we have our baggage car and an old passenger car just behind it. The red car coming up with the P&H on the side of it is an old work crew car. Just by the men who worked on the tracks. And beside us now is an old troop transport used back in World War II. And we can't forget the dining car. If anybody remembers Casey Jones, the old engineer, used to run on the Illinois Central Railroad. The 790 engine here belongs to the Illinois Central. Okay, that one whistle means the brakes are set and it's safe to get up. We'll be taking a short walk down into the roundhouse area. If anybody's uncomfortable walking, we'll be back in about 10 to 15 minutes. We'll be exiting the coach from...
There you go.
all the way up to the fence here and up to that center portion where you see the pit. And on top of that pit they have a small bridge with tracks on it. There's a turntable. There'll be a man inside the box. There's a turntable. When it was first operated, it was operated by steam. Today our cable works by electricity. We have two small 12 horsepower engines underneath the cable. That's all they need to turn that entire. By the time we're finished here, we hope to have up to 15 inches. Back to the center door. Sometimes they wear away depending on the condition of the rail. But for the most part, you can see tracks dating back to the 19th. Very early on, this was kind of a waste of set of a big effort for here. The rails just come through, but they don't anymore. So you might wonder why we got these trucks here. These trucks are taking off a couple of our passenger cars and going through our inspections and roughly 30 miles an hour on how the inspections are basically the operator. The way we got it from here was by using this overhead crane. Assuming this is about 20 to 20 guns, I don't know, but that's been there for quite a while. All our passenger cars have to go through regular inspections just like our engines. In fact, our biggest problem is with the, our bigger problem, I should say, is with the, this is our third year working in here. A lot of our machines haven't, you can also raise it up with the crane, but that's not as practical as it may seem. So more safety rules to follow. A lot of them
Lucci.
City or even Hoboken, but if they had a cooling station along the line, it would be above the tracks, and the train pulls there and they jump the boat. In this yard, they have drive alongside.
That's not an excursion, that's an engine, a locomotive. What it was pulling some passenger cars with it on an excursion on it. It's a kind of trip, not a kind of engine.
Technology is changing so rapidly these days, we quickly forget what life was like only a few years ago, when only a miracle could make some dreams possible. One miracle turned out to be an engine that carried us across a continent and over mountain ranges and helped transform the world. Jim Slade went looking for the ghost of that little engine and found it in Durango, Colorado.
Spanish explorers considered the San Juan Mountains nearly impassable. But when silver was discovered among them in 1872, the impassable met the irresistible. Steam. Nothing else could do the job just then. Steam engines provided the power to supply the miners with heavy machinery, tools, and food. And there was the power to drag tons of raw silver down to the smelters in the valleys.
The railroads were critical to development of the mines, and you could not have had any major mining development or even any major settlement of the area without the railroad transportation.
At the time, they were building a railroad south from Denver to the Rio Grande at El Paso. But when its owners heard of silver coming out of the San Juans on pack mules, they quickly changed their plans. And the fledgling Denver and Rio Grande Railroad was tailor-made for the job. Its wheels and tracks are only 3 feet apart compared to the standard 4'8", ideal for sharp curves and narrow spaces. Nevertheless, the challenges to getting the tracks to the silver were unbelievable.
This railroad is a miracle of 19th century engineering. They overcame obstacles like this with iron determination and lots of black powder explosives, driving the rails to Silverton in less than a year.
That's the High Line. It's at least 400 feet down to the Animas River.
The workmen, to blast off the shelf for the narrow gauge train, had to hang by ropes off of the steep cliffs there, dig in the holes one by one, and blast the cliff off a little bit at a time until they had it wide enough.
That was the worst part. Skirting the riverbed the rest of the way, the tracks climb among 13,000-foot peaks where prospectors clung near the pay dirt like spiders. They said they found silver by the ton there. By the time the tracks reached Silverton in 1882, it was the social center for more than 2,000 people.
Oftentimes they would work a whole winter and not get paid until finally in the spring they would get paid and come down to Silverton, and boy, they'd have a real blowout.
Nearly $1 billion in ores is poured out since then, and some gold is still being mined. The railroad still runs. Now it's called the Durango and Silverton Narrow Gauge, hauling tourists instead of silver. The husky little locomotives that conquered the San Juans still make their eyes shine.
When you look at one, it's a breathing, living creature, so to speak. But once you see a locomotive belching the smoke and the steam coming out of it, and all the personal sounds that you get from a locomotive, I mean, there's just nothing like it.
Jim Slade, ABC News, Durango, Colorado.
And that is World News Sunday. I'm Forrest Sawyer. For all of us here at ABC News, good night.